Hello, hello. How are we all? Today I'm going to go through a very common bit of a material that a lot of you have shown me that you have. So I thought it's probably best to really just do a hands-on carve through of a similar piece of material. So this is what I'm seeing a lot of that people are asking questions about. And it's basically a piece of crystal opal, almost seam-like, but this is kind of a chunk off a bigger shell. And you can see here, it's just got this crystal section in the middle, bit of rough on both sides, and a little bit of blue, typically a little bit of blue purple just scattered there amongst the middle. Now you can actually get reasonably good stones from this material. Most of the time though, it will end up being doublet material by the time you get through it. But there are a few really easy and good ways to check what kind of material you're going to get, and that is literally just using a standard little flashlight. Anything will do. Your mobile phone has a light on the camera, and even that will make you know what you're in for much earlier on in the piece, rather than waiting until you've ground back both of the rough, crusty sides. In fact, sometimes you won't even want to take off both sides, because one you can actually leave on and leave as a backing as long as it's nice and clean on the inside. But basically what I'm going to do is turn off the lights and we'll go through a little bit of how to tell what to do with the stone. Alright, so lights are off, torch is on, and you can see I'm just shining it down on the opal. What you want to do is bring it not directly ahead of yourself. You don't need to blind yourself like this. All you need to do is bring it so that it's just behind the opal, kind of shooting at an angle so that it's not straight in your eyeballs, and just have a look here. So you can a lot of the time see little fractures throughout the stone. Right in the center there you can see there's a little bit of sand coming in from this top bar. Most likely we're going to have to slice down the middle, but we'll see when we carve it back. And apart from that, it's actually fairly clean. From this angle you can see that sand really takes over. Spin it all the way around, get a look on the other side, and you can see that there are a few crack looking features throughout it. But don't be fooled, sometimes the light does get bounced around a bit in there and it isn't a crack, so you can be pleasantly surprised every now and then, but I can definitely see a few cracks, particularly right in the center of the stone. So it's not going to be an absolute gem, this one, but it does look pretty clean. So this would be one that I would be very much interested in carving away at and seeing what's in there. It's really just that center section right there that is potentially going to be a bit of an issue and might need to be sliced down the guts. You can see that dark little spot in the middle where there's a little bit of sand. Kind of unfortunate, but it's nice. You get this nice amber glow, and that's what you want to see. If you see something that's too cloudy, then most likely you're going to find that there's going to be sand all the way through it. So grab your torch, grab any torch, even if you've just got a bedside table kind of lamp, just hold this in front of the lamp and have a look at it like this. It will tell you a hell of a lot. And it might help you decide, if you've got 100 of these to choose from, which one to cut. So we'll get this one under the knife now, and we'll just peel back both layers. I think we'll just go, maybe I'll just do one layer first so I can show you how the backing can remain if it's nice and clean. But I think in this case I see a little bit of sand on both sides, so we'll probably carve it all the way back. But you know what? We'll hit one side first and go from there. Carving time. 120 sintered diamonds burr. If it was a little bit of a thicker crust, I would have gone more for the 80 or the 90. But I thought 120 would get through it pretty quick, and it did get through it pretty quick. Plus this material can be prone to chipping quite heavily if you use something too coarse. So I think 120 is a happy medium. It gets through quick and it does very little damage. And you can see here we're just working on it really without a care in the world. At this point I'm not worrying about keeping it too flat. I'm not worried about anything other than getting rid of it. So we're just flying through. You will notice that I'm moving backwards and forwards pretty quickly though. I mean, this footage is also sped up 300%, but I'm still moving forwards and backwards. It does help keep it a lot flatter. And it just gets through it nice and evenly, and you'll hit the bar at the same time across the face. But it is quite awkward to hold on to, and you're not going to be able to get the full face unless you dop it. But with a big stone like this, I didn't really want to waste the time dopping. So we're just flying through, getting closer to the bar, not worrying too much about anything. Now I'm holding it in a way that is quite common for me to do, and you'll notice that I'm giving it a little bit of a rotation as I'm going backwards and forwards, and that's just to keep it nice and flat across the entire surface, because you can see here that I'm just starting to get through to the actual opal. On that left edge you can see that it's starting to go for that blue purple, and we're just flying through. Where my fingers are resting, they're going to be 2 high points at each end, so you'll see me deal with that in a few minutes, because unfortunately I can't keep my fat fingers out of the way the entire time. Oh, there's a fumble. And you can see just there with the light, there's a little bit of a ledge, and I'm hitting it a little bit now, but I'll deal with it right at the end. Just trying to get rid of all this little dispersed sand. And here we are, so I am hitting those edges now just to flatten them out. Saw that I hadn't cleaned the face properly yet. That's a bit better. Yep. So back to the edges, just getting rid of the sand there and just flattening it, making it the same height as the rest of the face. So just flying along, other end, get rid of that, and that's about it. We'll be able to see what we've done. All right, we've peeled back one of the sides, and you can see here that there was a crack right there in the center. I used my little pointer. If I can get the angle right, you can see just there a nice little crack right where we saw the light shining, and then there was some sandy looking patch, and it hasn't turned out to be sand. It's actually turned out to be the old ginger whisker. So that there is also a bit of a problem. A slice down the guts, you'll get 2 matching pairs out of it. Quite reasonable. But you can see, even underwater, it's not the most colourful piece in the world. So, not top quality gem material at all. You rarely get that. And you can see, looking through, that it's not that nice, even, dark kind of backing. So, I was going to peel it back anyway, but I'll quickly get rid of all of this to the same kind of level as this face here with the 120 grit. And you'll notice with the 120 grit that I used, it's this kind of small barrel shape. This isn't the best to make a nice flat finished surface on a doublet or a future doublet, but it does do pretty well if you just move it backwards and forwards. And I also do a thing while I'm carving where I will rotate the stone, or I'll probably show both methods actually, but you can also just go backwards and forwards in one direction, but you'll miss the 2 end bits, and then afterwards you just go through and you neaten up those as well. But I like to use a rotating method, and even then, just before finishing up and gluing, I'll typically still use something like this. So this is just electroplated, it's not a sintered one. My sintered ones aren't as big, so I just use something like this because it is a nice dead flat surface, and you can see that you can just press it in a couple areas, even it out, and you'll get a nice flat piece. If you've got a flat lap, even better. You can get through this material in a flash. It's really good. It's where the Dremel struggles a little bit, but we can still make do. Anyway, I'm gonna just take off this other side, and then I'll show you what it looks like after that. So be back in a sec. And just like that, both sides cleaned up, and now we can really have a good look at the opal. And unfortunately, this is one of the classic cloudy ones. So this is it, just with a nothing background. You can still see that it's already a bit cloudy. That's a bad sign. You can see that the ginger whiskers there, the cracks there. There's actually a few other really tiny ones that you won't see that easily. But if I move this water out of the way and just chuck a little bit on this cutting mat, you can see there it's got this effect of cloud across the entire face from both sides. So it really is a bit of a dud, this one. But the best thing about this material is that you can get a lot of it for very little, and every now and then you will get one that's nice and clean and won't have these problems. In fact, it's not that uncommon to get a really clean one. The cloudy stuff is just really annoying when you come across it. And just to prove this, here's an entire bag that I just label as doublets, so a bit of rough that I think can make potential doublet material. And this I will hit most of it with a flat lap rather than doing it with a rotary tool. The Dremel method is just a little bit slow. I'm just showing that you can do it. But yeah, you can get bags of this stuff. It's mainly just shell material. A lot of the time when you hit a shell patch, this is Cooper Pedy stuff, you'll get a lot of this type of material, and the clean ones are really nice. The cloudy ones, I mean, this is in a really annoying range of cloudy. If it's more cloudy and it's really that milky kind of consistency, you can actually do some stuff with that. But this is unfortunately not the best. This is kind of actually the worst case scenario. Apart from sand, this is a close runner-up, because I just can't make this kind of material look all that great, even in a doublet. All we can do is grind it back a little bit more, but having a look at it, it's really through and through just cloudy, dispersed sand and tiny cracks. But you win some, you lose some, and I feel like it's been a while since I had a bit of a disappointment on the channel, so here you go. It wouldn't be opal cutting without a small disappointment here and there. But I keep collecting this material anyway, and I might just use it as a sacrificial piece to show you a couple options when it comes to doubleting, though I've got plenty of other good material that'll make great doublets, so I'd rather use that. This will just kind of sit on the sidelines, maybe just get thrown into this doublets bag. But that's it for this one. Hopefully that helps a lot of you tackle this kind of material. I've explained it probably 10 times in the last couple months, and that's not a problem. I'm happy to do that by email or Facebook or whatever, but I thought I might as well just make a quick video on it, then people will have something to refer to in case they forget what I've told them or whatever. Some people just like to see it actually before their very own eyes and see someone else do it. I know I learn pretty quickly that way as well, so I'm all for it. And yeah, hopefully it helps someone out there. And I will catch you in the next video.